Hey, you don't hear? Well, I switched to the wrong camera. That was just the audio on Cam 3. This is Cam 2 with audio from Cam 3. Okay, well, I'm all in a oddball camera setup because I needed my camera 1. You can see it right up there aimed down at my work tables because I'm going to go back to work on the this is actually an ATI video card. I think I've been calling it an NVIDIA, but it is an ATI. Mom's is an NVIDIA, and this one on my RedBlackBioStar is a ATI. And so I've done, let me go ahead and get switched, turned around here, and get it all going on the right setup here. So yeah, let me see if I can, I don't know if it'll show up in the camera or not, but I was looking at this the other day, and let me get my magnifying glass and look at it here. Okay, so if I set it kind of right up under there real straight, maybe, okay, you can see the ATI at least. But let me see, if I switch to straight, yeah, the light helps. One of them does. Okay, let me go just to the endoscope so it'll get bigger. And try to get the light out of there. ATI Radeon. That's the processor. Okay, so on the video card. Now, okay, so the little bitty letters, I don't know if they can be seen. I really can't tell in my preview. And it is an HD 455X, YAHD 455X, YAF2, BA.0. HD 455O. What does that say? 6? I don't know what 625M stands for, but 512 megabyte DDR2, DVI, TV, and PCIe. And the TV is S-Video, SVHS output, S-Video output. Made in China. Void if damaged. I think the warranty ran out a while ago on that, but it still works just fine except for the fan went out. And I replaced it with this one because I had bought 3 for like a little under $3 when Mom's went out. They're both about the same age and right at the same age, and hers has gone out. They were both working but making terrible noises. So this is the exact replacement for hers, but it wasn't for mine. It had a snap-in fan, and the fan was mounted to the, I don't know where I stuck that thing, or I'd show it, but it was mounted to the snap-in fan cage kind of thing. It did have, you know, it didn't have the blades out in the open like I have these. These aren't actually sharp, so I got cut pretty bad on Mom's because it was really sharp, and I tried to do that to see how much, you know, it would take to stop it, and I was reaching over, trying to look at the video preview at the same and do it, and I hit the edge of the blades and got cut. So anyway, what I did, this little heat sink, it's the weirdest heat sink I've ever seen. It doesn't have fins in it like they normally do. It just had the fan in there and a cover over it. But it worked for all these years, so I figured it should be all right, like, you know, just get a new fan in it. So I drilled holes, and I put nuts on there, and then last time I put Loctite on there because when I was trying to kind of knock the rough edge with a little file, it's actually a metal fingernail file I was using, but anyway, when I tried to kind of knock the sharp edges off, one of them just unscrewed, and it just has like one, you know, they have like, I remember I measured it last time, it's 25 thousandths of left of screw and nut there, and that's so that it can clear this this extra little PCB board that this GPU is mounted in, and it makes you, all that big layout and everything really throws me off still when I look at it. That looks like how the fan would mount, right, or the heat sink. And actually, I have one that could have been. I thought about going. I had one that I almost put on there, a heat sink off of another, you know, off of another machine that had died. That didn't have a, well, I mean, actually I don't think it ever had a fan on it. I think it was a GPU heatsink, but it was just that right size. You could drill holes in the corners, and and no fan. But it was pretty thick, so I didn't want to limit my space between my PCI cards, you know. So I didn't want to do that since I already had a new fan anyway. But the actual mounting holes, there's one of them, and there's the other. Like seemed like it was an afterthought in their design, but see, there's just two, and these little studs hold it up to the right distance, you know, and everything out. And let me get this on. Yeah, let's go ahead and go that way. So you can get, if you can't see what I'm doing there, you can see the overall view on the dual view there. So if I put it in there, the way it's going to go, and then plug in right over here. And that I did test that before I even started. That is going to fit. Let's see. I got to turn on some light down here if I can reach it. It might be about that. So if you look down in there, when I put those in and then ground those nuts down so that they would not be setting on that little PCB. And see, those two are not. It depends on, of course, I don't know exactly where it's going to set when I see. Now it's touching the processor, and so really, I mean, if you rock it all the way, it doesn't look like it actually touches. Well, that one does. I think that corner would be okay because I don't think there's any components there. I think this is the one up here that it could touch components, and I'm worried that it could ground out. It depends on. The little nuts have springs on them, so it's kind of a spring-mounted thing. The little nuts that go into the studs back there when they protrude through the board. And I keep running into that. This side, it's not touching that little PCB, so there's lots more space. But what I'm thinking, I believe I'll go ahead and try to do it. I've done it before. Something I know, I always used to, you know, ever since when I was a kid, I'd love to inspect things, and I was always intrigued by electronics and old stereos. We had an old hi-fi that was a tube hi-fi. Most of the stuff I got to get a chance to take apart was pretty old, so it was kind of cool. Nowadays, tubes are really popular still, tube components. Anyway, I noticed in those old radios and hi-fis from the 40s and 50s and stuff that they had cardboard insulators. It was really thick, tough cardboard. It was almost like it was something between masonite and cardboard is what it was. But if you got it wet, and it would start acting pretty much like cardboard. So anyway, here and there, once in a while, I'll just, if I need some sort of insulator and some electronics that doesn't get really hot, I'll use cardboard, and it works great. So what what I want to do is cut out an insulator about the size, or maybe a little. I may cut it out to be as big as these 4 holes. I think I will, and then if I have to anchor it, I can anchor it to those 4 holes. If it acts like it wants to spin or anything. Actually, if this goes through it, then it won't spin, so that'll be good. But I'll cut out this, the middle area of it so that it goes around this. And it's out here on the corners that I'm worried about it touching any of these components. And I'm afraid it could short them out. That's why I just don't know. I would think really that that's the top side, not the side receiving power. But I don't want to take any chances. And I don't want this, you know, it's a fan, it vibrates. Fans vibrate. And the older they get, the more they're going to vibrate. So I don't want it vibrating on those either and rubbing them. So I'd rather rub through some cardboard than that. So I think this will fit. It's pretty thin. Tough enough, but pretty thin. I was going to get my calipers and measure it, and I forgot. But that's okay. I would like to have had a factory edge to go off of, but I don't really. I guess that's okay. Won't really hurt. Let's see, this thing is pretty crooked there. There. Okay. So, I think I'll go to camera 1 for a minute. I'm not using that view right now. I think I'll just cut it right there at that seam. Doesn't have to be super accurate or anything anyway, so. Yeah, I easily save. This is, you know, well, oh, I'm trying to show you. I guess I should just put it back on there so that I can. That's what it is. Just something came on a you know, wrapped around a product. These things work really good too. So you know, junk mail's not completely useless. You can use it for stuff like this. Makes good. They really make, especially these. I don't know if you can see how. This is one of these advertisement cards you get in the mail, and so those thick ones like that, especially, make really good shims because they're pretty tough. And if you need to, like I used a bunch of them to shim up my sink when I made a new vanity for my bathroom. So I'm just gonna line it up. I'm just gonna kind of line it up to those marks. There we go. There's all kinds of diagrams and stuff on here, so that ought to help. Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. I'll look. I want to see. I want to make sure it covers the holes. So. I think that'll be good. I don't want it getting in the way of anything, so. I can always trim it down if I get it too big. Now, I guess I'll just act like I'm serious about it, and I'll measure that with my scale, and it's 2/100. How about that? 100 thousandths, that's what that is. Now I can't see it. Good thing I did. Yeah, I'm using the preview to help me see where I'm trying to mark. Okay. And this one is probably going to be about the same. Well, I did go a little further on one of them. Let's see. Yeah, that's quite a bit further. So that's 350 or so. Yeah, I can't see, even with my glasses on, I can't see that, so. Now let's draw us a line across here. I just grabbed the first marking device, pencil, one of these mechanical pencils that I want to grab out of my little, you know, pencil and pen thing over there. That worked out actually pretty good. Okay, now, does it look like it's going to fit good? Oh, I see what it did. Yeah. Okay, I made it longer that way. And I didn't make it a lot extra the other way because I didn't want it to be too big where it was out in the way. Let's look at that one more time. Is that going to be wide enough? Yeah, that'll be fine. Who thought learning how to cut out paper dolls when you was a kid would turn out to be good for electronics? Oh, I didn't do that. No, my sister did that. I should have helped her because she didn't know what she was doing. I did all kinds of anything and everything. I always liked any kind of crafts. I was always been interested in everything. So I always liked learning. Okay, so I'm not going to poke holes in for those 4 because that's not actually where I need it. Let's see. But what I am going to do, yeah, okay. I think since it's already bent that way, I'm going to lay it on that way because I don't think it will. I actually had wanted, yeah, that's good. I'll leave the, I was kind of not wanting to look at the printed side, but what difference does that make? So what I'll do is put it on there like that, get my pencil and mark it again from the back side. But mark it again. I'm going to mark it and get my fingers in the right places. There we go. See if I still got it straight enough that it won't bug me. Okay, so the actual mounting hole is there. I'm going to mark it up as good as I can. I'll really be able to see it. Yeah. Oh yeah, that light's still on, isn't it? Why did I try? Oh, to look down the side. So yeah, I'll leave the light on. I'm starting to think that I started to grab one of these. Well, that wouldn't have been good for using. I don't like using these markers like these kind of markers with my. There we go. That's what I want. So I can kind of be somewhat accurate. I think while is it still in place? Well, we got it in place. I'm going to mark these 2 in case I end up needing them later. Probably won't. I wasn't squeezing that one good enough to didn't contact the whole thing. Must have moved a little after all. It's still okay. Okay, so my plan is not really to use the I should have got that out. I'm planning on using a hole punch is what I was thinking. That'll make a clean hole. I've got one in my, let me see if I can get it here. Got one in my, under here. I can get to it. I'm not sure exactly where it is in here. I think it's pretty far back in my desk. See, I made these, all these things. I can't pull it all the way out because of my workbench sitting here. I forgot to get it out ahead of time. But I do know that it'll do a good job. Much better than poking a hole with a sharp object. I just don't know. Oh, there they are. I wasn't anywhere near where they're kept, so I couldn't find them. I'm just feeling for them. There we go. Yeah, I got a whole bunch. I got three of them, I think. So one of them has. It's funny. I don't know. You know, I just kept them. I save everything. Don't ever throw anything away because you don't ever know when you might need it. But you know, here's the standard kind. Pretty big hole for notebook paper size holes. But then I've got a couple of compasses for drawing on paper with. No, I have two of them. This one is the one I don't know how it got, what its real purpose was. You see that in there? That thing is not round. It's kind of a funny shape, but it's smaller. So that comes in handy sometimes, actually. Not that it's out of round, but that it's smaller. Oh, it's got Velcro on it. It stays shut. I don't know where that, oh, I guess that was something you get, like, some of this stuff. Well, those things, one or two of those were my compasses when I was a kid in school in the 4th grade, you know. And some of them I just saved from over the, you know, ever since I was a little kid. So some things can last you a lifetime. There we go. Yeah, kind of missed my mark, didn't I? Can always do it again if I have to. Let's turn it up and see if I can. What you can do. There. That's what I should have done. Oh, that was actually. I think I'm going to have to hit them both again. Where's that paper at? There it is. I know I missed this first one too much. It doesn't matter if, well, I mean, I did kind of want them to be, let's see if this thing, it'll go on there. If it will, then I won't worry about it. If it goes on a little tight, that'll actually be good. It won't keep it from moving, huh? Oh, yeah, that's good. I was going to poke them without looking, poke them again, but that's actually perfect. Keeps it really rigid in place. Now that's the way I poked them, but I'd really rather not have all those letters showing. So I'm going to see if it'll fit either way. I should. Let's put this back in here. Okay, so yeah, I should be able to, let's just take it off again and see if I can flip it the way I kind of really wanted it to be. Only thing I'm kind of wondering about is, yeah, there we go. See if that changes things a whole lot. Oh, I didn't flip it. I may want it. There we go. Oh, it will only go one way. Okay, so the way I did it, the way it got to stay. That's all right, no big deal. It'd probably be easier to put on there like that anyway. Okay. Now when I slide it on here, I want to make sure when I put it on that I put my cable towards that, because I don't want, I mean, it's long enough to reach from about anywhere, but I don't want it being pulled across the fan. Actually, that doesn't mount up anyway, does it? Oh yeah, it does. So I could put it, no, it wouldn't even reach. So even though it's long, you're still going to have to mount it like that. So let's put it in there as if I was going to mount it. And look in here again. I think it's going to be fine. Yeah. What I was wondering is if it was going to, oh, well, I don't have it cut out yet. I got to cut out the center. But of course you don't want the paper in there. That would be an insulator and it would make the heat sink not work. Now, how am I going to get that cut out? I think I'm going to use the old, well, this tool maker back in the 80s. There was some, we sometimes on some tools, we needed to match a tool to a pattern that had a really like curved contour, very intricately going every which way. We do a thing called bluing it in, and we used blue artist paint, and we would paint the thing we're trying to match. Now I'm not going to do it. I'll leave this on here. We'd paint the thing we're trying to match, and then we would touch the tool to it, and that would show us where to grind. And we had to grind them within 10,000ths all over. Maybe it was a 12, well, there was some hydropress, I think they were stretcher die forms. We mostly did hydropress forms, but they had me go down to another department for a while and work, and they were stretcher die forms that were huge. They took a crane to pick them up. And trying to make those fit a plaster cast, plaster and fiberglass cast was just, I hated it. Grinding days and days and days. It'd take weeks, a month, couple of months maybe to get one done, and that's what the guys that knew what they were doing. I grinded on one for a week and never didn't get it. Started. I think it was worse when I quit than when I started. I just never have been anything that's kind of artistic. I don't know how to explain it. I'm really mechanical, but anything that has an artistic feel to it, and that's what it was to me. Where you look at it and you guess and you grind or you cut and then you look at it again. Never have been so good at that. So, well, let's just use blue since that's, yeah, I think that'll work for me. Seems more ergonomic since that's what I was talking about. I could use any color, but I'm going to use a marker. Let's get this thing kind of lined up because this dries pretty quick. Oh, that other, I'm going to use another color because this is a regular Sharpie and it does dry fairly quick. But I have some that don't dry very quick. Oh, this one's blue. This is another brand. This is Deep Blue Sea. I don't know, it's just a, you know, I don't know what brand it is. AP. It's not a brand I know of. But I got a whole pack of them pretty cheap a couple of years ago. They work fine, but they do dry slow. They work great. And I don't think that I don't know how permanent they are. I don't usually mark things trying to make it permanent anyway, so I usually don't want it to be permanent. So there we go. That's the way it needs to be. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to mark the whole surface of this thing. I'll just clean it with some alcohol later. I'm trying to hurry, but I'm not. I'm trying to mark out on the edges. That's what, of course, the edges I can see are pretty well rolled, so. I'm going to rock it. So maybe it'll get me a good, it's kind of this is kind of more like printing press kind of thing. You ever seen, what's what they call it, ink stamps? Yeah, where you can have letters and, there we go. Look at there. Just like bluing it in. Now before that dries, I'll get me some alcohol. I don't want that sticking to that. I've got rubbing alcohol. That'll work great. I discovered that recently. I probably knew it. It's probably very common knowledge, but I hadn't thought of it. Probably knew it times past, but I have been, I know for quite a while, using, I tried Windex and glasses cleaner and stuff to clean that stuff off, you know. Well, number one thing is my my USB sticks. I like to, well, this one's not labeled because I cleaned it. I would write on them and then I would, you know, label them, and then I would use an eraser to erase it. And it's really a pain to get it off that way. It works, but pain in the butt. But regular old rubbing alcohol, take that stuff off in a heartbeat. And yeah, I've got my little blue glove because I don't want, well, the alcohol will actually do me more harm than the blue ink. Make my skin dry and crack just in a quick. One application sometimes will do it. Actually, alcohol, well, no, not just one application with alcohol. I'm getting mixed up. One application of, see that blue right there? That's from Windex for me. That blue stain, that's for me. That's already on there. That's for me cleaning my glasses with that same one. I don't like to waste things, so I reuse them. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's actually really good because then there won't be any grease on the on there when I get ready to. Oh, it actually was probably still had some heatsink paste left. It's kind of residue left because look how you can. It looks like you could really read it now. So there we go. Okay, so while I got that out, go ahead and clean this part too. That way there won't be any finger oils or any kind of leftovers. You know, well, I meant to do that with these nuts, clean them really good with alcohol before I put Loctite on them so it would stick good, and I forgot. I was doing the last one when I thought of it. Yeah, look how much dirt was on there. Let's do that again. That way there won't be anything to make that heatsink paste not stick good. And it's called. I've always thought it was called it paste because I thought that's what you should call it. But I found out not long ago that it's, well, actually it was a long time ago. It's actually grease. That table was pretty dirty. I wipe it all the time and clean it with Windex. Okay, so trying to think of where I can put my alcohol so it won't get knocked over. Guess that'll be okay for now. Now, let me put it up. I don't want to get knocked over and end up spilling or something. Where I was setting it is right where this tray where my laptop sits, my preview laptop. And I haven't checked my sound yet. Let me check it. There we go. Now I can pause my preview. Oh, well, I saw myself moving. Okay, so I'll just leave that thing over there out of the way. I don't have an X-Acto knife. People I see people using those. I had one years ago. Actually, what I had was a wood carving kit, and it had a little bit bigger handle. It was easier to hang on to than those X-Acto knives. I can't hold on to things with really small handles, but these work really well when the blades are sharp. You can do, cut through stuff like this. But I don't want to scratch up my table. What do I have? Well, what the heck? This has been dangling on this box. This was just a box that something I ordered came in. And I've been keeping my video card in there since I I'm just going to go a little outside of that because, yeah, that's pretty good. That way, when I cut, the cardboard allows me to cut right on through it without any, a piece of wood or something would kind of fight me. Oh, this is pretty sharp. It's working pretty good. I want it bigger than that processor. Probably should have went bigger than that. Let's find out how we did here. Let's see which way. Oh, the writing goes up. Okay. Yeah. Actually, I think I did pretty good. Yeah. I wanted ample space, but there's no need in having I didn't want so much that, well, I mean, my little nuts would be way out here. when it's mounted, but where's those holes? That's the main thing, is it gonna... I don't know. I didn't put it on there wrong, did I, when I marked it? If I got it wrong, it's not that big deal. I'll just cut it some more, because it's out here on the edge. As long as I don't go so far off the... Okay, there's a hole, I think. Okay, I can't see the holes, but I have two little bitty Phillips screwdrivers that probably are just the right size to poke up through those holes from the bottom. So let's try that, if they'll go in there. Oops, that one doesn't go in there. Oh, neither one of them go in there. Well, it stucks. Well, I just thought of these though. These are small enough that I don't think it'll matter if they're Phillips or slot. That one goes. Yeah, I'll have to. They're too tall for me to get. Where's the other hole at? Okay, let's just go to the close that knife in case sometimes I'll bang into stuff. Just get in this view. That's all I can really do right now. Okay, so there's the long. Okay, now there we go. Yeah, I think I'll trim a little more off of the. Try that. Yeah, I'll trim a little more off of that side that's kind of torn. I'll go down another hole, the whole thing one more time. Because I see if it moves around on me, I don't want it to be able to. It's gonna, I mean, it's gonna move a little when I put it down. And I don't want. Yeah. So the side with the torn edge, I'm gonna go another like. Yeah, it wants to go that way, but it doesn't want to go that way much. Okay. Yeah, so it can go all the way over. I don't want it getting in the way of it touching, you know. So cut another sliver off of there. And probably be good. Yeah. So let's just let's go back down to a little more straight. There. Let's just cut, go about however far I want to go over. Made it go down into the cardboard. There. Now. Ha-ha. Okay, now. This back like this. It's going to go on like that. And I have to turn it that way. Okay. I want to size it all up before I start putting things together. Can we see down in there? It's like I must have brought it down a little lower. There. Yeah. It's no way to tell. I'm just going to have to trust my work that it's not, you know, holding it up off of there. I can do it. I can check it by feel, I think. Move that. Try to move that cardboard a little bit. I do think I gave it plenty of clearance. But you didn't see there's that nut touching that cardboard. Now this is on the side. Yeah, the one with the single nut, it's got plenty of room. This is the one where I wasn't sure if it would hold it up off of there because of the nuts. There's one. There's the other one up in there. Because of those nuts, if the corners of them touch that extra board, that circuit board, I think it'll be all right. Yeah. I think they're just, that card is almost exactly the space that's left in there. So looking at it from back here further away, it looks like it's pretty straight. And so when I put the little screws down on it, it should be all right. It should be just what I'm looking for. If I set it down, it matches up on the screws. That cardboard doesn't really move much. Oh, here's what I can do. I'll hold it in place, if I can get a hold of it. And then I will pull this, oops, can't do that. See if I can hold it with two corners and flip it over. Let it fall out. Yeah, it's not touching it at all. Not even close to touching it. Okay, I think I'll be good. So, that is how I'm going to want it, just like that. So now I can put me some CPU paste on there and put it back together. Don't need much on there. That's for sure. Put that in the view. Yep, that'd probably be way more than I need. Yeah, I finally bought me a nice big tube of this stuff. I ended up getting it on Amazon for $2. But it was one. Anytime it's straight from, you know, China. Anytime I order stuff like that, it's like 50. I don't even know if it's as good as 50-50 chance that it's going to get here at all. I think I've ordered maybe 4 things that way from Amazon, but knowing it was coming straight from China, it was going to be slow. But I thought the price would make it worth it. This stuff, they said it got lost. It never came and never came. They said it got lost. And then it came like 2-3 months later. And another one or two I had to get refunds and never did see them. But, okay, so, it seems like I'm a little high now. It makes it, the way I have the deal bin, I gotta have enough room here to work, so move my hands and stuff, so I kind of have it crooked. There. Just realized. That makes it worse. No, that's worse. I guess that was actually the best right there. Sorry. Okay, now. Since I can't turn this thing to smear it around, I guess I will smear it around with my finger a little bit. I just kind of figured I'll lose about half of it to my finger when I do that. That'll be all right, I guess. Well, I guess I can put it on here. I mean, it's not like it's not that critical how you do it. other parts. Couldn't see what I was doing. If I try to wipe it off, I'll wipe it off of where it needs to be, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, now this goes on here. Oh, let's find my, what am I going to use to turn these with? Oh, I think I can use a Phillips screwdriver. Yeah, see what I was talking about, the spring on them? Okay, well, I've got several different types of screwdrivers that I can get with, you know, right here in under my toolbox is under my workbench. So my little computer toolbox for in the house. Okay, so it goes like that. Just like that. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to look down in there one more time and see if I can. Okay. I mean, if it's kind of square to the, I didn't pay attention a minute ago, but it seems to be pretty straight along one edge at least, and I made it bigger than all the marks on the. Yeah, see that one, it can rock, see. There. The main thing is that you want those all the way through there. Keeps coming out when I try to look at it. Just make sure it's, yeah, I believe that I can, since I got it pretty tight on those studs, I think I can trust my, I think what I need is, I need something to stand up higher off the table because of all the extra parts. There we go. Yeah. Now then, when I have it, yeah. All right. Now then, get my favorite Phillips and see if it'll do the job. It's magnetic, and I can just, yeah, maybe that'll work. Yeah, that's getting it started real nicely. That extra screw, oh, that's the screw that holds this card into the machine. Yeah, and after this, if this all goes well, which I think it will, then I'll put this back in the machine. Oh, yeah. I wish you could really see what it, they tighten up. Oh, I see. I think they hit, even there's a spring there, but the way that stud was made, it's bottoming out so that you can get it nice and tight. Yeah, and then that little screw is just the one, regular old computer case screw that holds it in the. Yeah, just a lid off of a little thing I keep screws in. That's what that one was. Sometimes, last time I was messing with it, I used, you know, that's probably a real good idea for a couple of reasons, because, is that one, I don't know. Yeah, I think it is. This thing is warped, and I guess they knew that it might do that. Maybe, I don't know if it's just the, well, you know what, now that I think about it, most, trying to get it up in the camera where maybe you can see it. I don't know if you can see that. But when I look down at, oh, I've done this before. Let's see if I can do it. Get it just right. You can look down at it just like looking down a board. Just hard to get it in the right place. I can't really get it in the right place, but anyway, it is warped a little bit. the board, the circuit board. So with those springs, you know, you got some leeway. And I don't know, I can't quite understand why they would have the board marked out for all those 4 holes. Just seems like the perfect way to mount it. Maybe that was the problem when they tried to screw it down and the board warped on them. I noticed, I've seen a motherboard that probably had it's probably warped almost a 1/4 inch, one of the motherboards in one of these machines. But when the board warped on them, maybe it made these screw holes not work well, and so then they redesigned and just used 2 and let it just rock on springs. And like if this thing heats up and cools down and changes its shape, then it'll still be touching the GPU. Oh, I was like, why is that not working? It wasn't working because you didn't have the endoscope on at all. So this is, I don't know which side that is. Let's see. Oh, I can tell, yeah. Okay, that's the one with 2 screws. See? 1, 2. The other side just has 1. So if my, there's the mounting deal there. I think I'm so close it's blurring, but I guess I should go back up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. And there's the spring. But I feel better about that. There's no way now, you know, I mean, they would have to rub for probably a few years to rub through that much cardboard and touch that circuit board. It's not holding it up off of the, I mean, you can move it back and forth because it's on springs. I don't know if you can see that it's doing that, but I can. Oh, now, of course, that way you can actually kind of rock it from any corner, but I don't. What I'm looking down in here to try to figure out, and I cause, you know, it not to touch my. Oh, there. Oh, I see the processor. Yeah, it's poking up through there, and it's touching the heatsink. Yep, sure is. So I think what I was hoping is turning out okay. See if we can tell from up here. It actually seems to be leaning more that way, which is, well, I guess it would because it's touching. Those screws are probably touching that circuit board. Well, the cardboard's touching the circuit board. But my, you know, well, I kind of forgot when I was doing it, but how much CPU paste I put on there ended up being pretty thick, and that's what my plan was, to put it on thick. So that it could make sure and make contact, you know. You definitely wouldn't want a space in there so that it wasn't, you know, the paste wasn't contacting the 2 things. Uh-oh. Is that just what I've been concerned about? Oh, I see. That's the side. Actually, what's holding, if anything's holding that up, it would be the, see, the nut's way down there, and this is the mounting deal. It almost looks like I could see space in there between the, well, it's really hard to tell. See, you can move it. But that's not the, it's touching, looks more like it's touching where the nut is than it is down here where there is no nut. So, and these would be kicking it in the direction, these 2 would be kicking it in the direction to make that side touch better. So, this one looks like fine. I can pretty well see that. CPU looks like it's touching all the way across. So, That right there, I don't know if it's a shadow or... Could be that this board is warped weirder than I thought it was. I'm trying to squeeze it together and see if I can see. Yeah, I could have actually put even more on there to make sure I've bridged any gap with that paste. I don't know. But the funny thing is what's holding it is the, and it is all the way through there. And I tighten, like I said, you were able to tighten those down until the inside of that screw bottomed out on that stud. See, the stud goes through quite far, about to the bottom of that head of that screw, and then there's threads, not real long, you know. See, you can see them there, that they made it pretty much all the way through there, all the way up to where the cross is, where you can put the screwdriver in there. I'm debating, should I take it off and just blob more CPU paste on there, or is it necessary at all? I got a feeling that's how it already... Oh. Oh, okay, if I squeeze it, I can close that gap, and then I think. Shadows throw you off. You think you're seeing a space, and all you're seeing is a shadow. Let's pull this. Oh, I can raise that up and down. Forgot. It's a tripod with all kinds of adjustments on it. So I can get more space between me and that camera, and then I can move this around more. Yeah, I think there's more of a shadow of a thing in there than there is a... Can I turn it that way and look in there? I don't know that I can look in there, really. I think it's okay. Because I think that CPU paste is bridging, you know, it's going to bridge whatever gap might be in there. It doesn't really rock much. It will. I mean, you got to really press on it to rock it. You can really only rock it this way. The other side doesn't want to rock because of those two nuts touching the cardboard, you know, which is on the end. So you can rock that side quite a bit more. But like I said, it's on a spring. It was designed to be able to, you know, be under spring tension, not to... Now let's look on here and see if there's a plus and a minus. If there, oh, it probably just, let's see, no plus and minus, but this thing has a connector that, you know, only wants to go one way. It's got that little rib on that side. It doesn't fit perfectly. It's got a pretty wide slot in there. The original one had a wide bit different style of connector, but it does work. I made sure of that before I even went into this, you know. So I've got it started with my fingers. Oops, thought I did. There. Didn't have it started as much. I'll be careful. I'm gonna. See that extra little part? That can cut wire. You gotta be careful. I'm using it. I'm trying to just use it to press down, but you might accidentally squeeze it too. I think I got it in there. Let's don't do that anymore. That's pretty scary. So I've got it. I sure wouldn't want to cut that wire right there at that point. Okay. So I think it's going to be fine. Let that wire just go up, I guess. Keep away from that cap. This is all insulated. It may get hot, but anyway, yeah, it's not. It's going to stay out, kind of like that. But yeah, so you know which way to go, because well, it wouldn't really let you put it in backwards. You'd have to try super hard to screw that up. Okay, so I'm thinking after all that cleaning. So that's my Southern Engineered GPU fan and my cardboard insulation to keep those screws nuts that I put on those machine screws from touching any of those components on that circuit board for the GPU that the GPU is mounted on. It's not like a CPU where you can take them in and out. It's mounted to stay. So I mean, you could, but I don't want to. You know, I don't want to break it. I'm sure you could. You'd probably have to desolder something to get it out. That's what I imagine. Not sure. I've never tried it. But since I've been handling these connectors, usually I don't worry about them too much because I just try not to handle them. But shoot, I've had my slimy little fingers all over those working on that. So I think I'll clean that with alcohol. And so I went and put it up, so I got to go get it again. Let me go get that. And I've got the machine sitting over in the floor, so I can put it back in there as soon as I move my table. Well, I could do it right here, I guess. I guess there's no reason. Yeah, well, normally I move my camera. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to see down in the computer from here. You wouldn't be able to see down in the computer from here. So I may need to move my table. And I'm thinking I actually need to take a break. So maybe I'll go take a break, move my table, and then you won't have to watch me do all that crap. All that table moving and camera moving and all that. Okay, so I just used some regular rubbing alcohol to clean that because, you know, oiling, finger oil, any kind of oil and stuff like that definitely could cause oxidation to accelerate on these, you know, connector tabs. So that's a good, you know, probably that would be a good idea to do that anytime you have this stuff apart, but I usually don't do it. I just usually try not to touch them. Of course, you don't know if somebody ahead of you did with an old computer. But no telling what's happened to any of this stuff. Of course, I did build this. Actually, I guess I got a better idea on this one because I bought the parts new and built it myself. Most of these other ones, you know, I got second hand. So anyway, that's what I'll do is go ahead and oh, my leg hurts. Sitting up really straight in this chair and jammed in here between the, you still can't see it, but jammed between the workbench and the myself jammed up there to that workbench. Anyway, makes my knees hurting and going to sleep. So there we go. That's my mic fan mod. If it works, it'd be good. You know, I think the BIOS on that machine can tell you the temperatures on different and the speeds. It tell you the speeds. I'm not sure which all temperatures it tells you. It tells you the CPU temperature, I'm pretty sure. I don't know about the GPU temperature. If it does, then if it seems to be really hot, I don't know though what GPU temperature is normal. I'd have to go look it up or something. But usually you can tell, like when you're, you know, if you've ever had a machine like a fan breaks and you didn't realize it and it starts overheating, well, it starts running poorly. And then if they get too hot, they'll just shut down. So, you know, that way, I don't want to get, you know, I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I saw, watching some videos, some guys that like to build go-karts and stuff. And it's a couple of grown men, but a lot of them are kids, and that's fun. You know, seeing the kids really get into stuff and building stuff and learning pretty young, you know. But these guys are like 30, in their 30s, looks like 30, in their mid-30s. Late 20s, early 30s. Anyway, the guy's, well, I remember his name, Isaac. It'll be fine. That's his. Evidently, what I was watching is these two guys got together to do these videos, but evidently they already have their separate YouTube channels. And the guy, he says his slogan is "It'll be fine." And I don't know how many times any of us have ever said that when we're trying to do, you know, we're working and making and building something. I don't care if it's something like this or a car. I used to work, when I was young, I worked on my cars and trucks all the time. I loved hot rodding, and I was always fixing and breaking, hot rodding and breaking and fixing, you know. And I still got into four-wheeling in my early 30s, mid-30s, and I thought that my 76 Chevy Blazer was a tank and it couldn't be broke. Well, I found out real quick that that wasn't true. That stuff's a lot heavier and harder to work on than a Chevelle, my SS Chevelle, or my 64 Chevelle, or even my 64 panel truck. I had a 64 Chevy panel truck. I put a 454 and a turbo 400 transmission, automatic transmission in. But my 676 Blazer with 35-inch tires on it, which was big back, and when I got it in 92 or something like that, that was pretty big tires for those days, you know. Now everybody, if you don't got 45s, you don't got nothing, you know, but 35s are big enough. So anyway, and the transfer case, I tore it up. And actually, the first time I had it done, because I didn't know about that stuff, and actually I was kind of I had a good job and I didn't want to do it. I paid for it. It cost me $750 to get that thing, it cracked the case, and they had to get another case and rebuild it. And that was a peel out. That was a peel out in a 4x4 that cost me $750. So don't do that. Trying to impress a girl. She was real impressed when the drive shaft wrapped itself in two, and I had to get out and take it out just so I could get going. She was kind of impressed whenever she's like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do? Should I call?" She had a mobile cell phone, you know. Should I call? And I said, "No, I didn't want anybody to know." Everybody, we was all taken off to go to a restaurant, and everybody else had already left, and I thought I'd do a burnout. She kind of got a kick out of that kind of stuff. I had done it a couple other times, but I did it on some brand new concrete in a parking lot, and those old mud tires really hooked up. Tore up that transfer case, twisted my drive shaft in two. I put it down in low, you know, first gear low, and just real drive, so I could do a spin out, peel out. And it peeled out until the drive shaft gave way. When the drive shaft gave way, the transfer case, all that torque just went, you know, let loose inside the transfer case and just blew it up. And so anyway, but I had broken a few U-joints already in that thing, so I just crawled out, and this is, you know, like 11:30 at night, and crawled out, grabbed my tools, took the rear drive shaft off, and put it in four-wheel drive, but I only had front-wheel drive because the rear shaft was off, and we was about 15 minutes late to the restaurant. So It wasn't so funny that night. All right. This is easier. It's tedious, but that's a lot easier. All right, so yeah, I'll go take a break, move my cameras around, and get that machine up on the table. Go ahead and put this back in the machine, and then you can hardly tell, but all that space that doesn't really look like enough space for a computer, that's where it goes. And all the things that were most of that stuff was sitting on top of it. So when I put it back, I'll have to, of course, move all that stuff. But sometimes I need that's my old computer that I used to be my main computer for about 4 years, and it's got all kinds of backups, and some files, that's the only place I have them is on that computer, and when I need them, then you know, haven't been able to use any of that yet lately. So anyway, I'll get that going and come back.